All right, so the first thing in composition land is your tools, okay? So electroforming composition 101, look for tools that match you. I have been doing this for a super long time and I travel all over the place and I still am able to composition wherever I travel, okay? So one of the things is cookie sheets, okay? This is a little cookie sheet and it's, I think, 13 by 9 or something like that. It's small, okay? It's thin and it costs about $2 to $3. If it gets too bad, I toss it, okay? That's how I go. If you want to wash it, easy peasy, you just freaking put acetone on it and then it comes right off. The only compound that does not come off very well is baking soda and super glue, okay? It's a choice of baking soda to use, but in composition work for electroforming, we do use an incredible amount of baking soda and super glue. And that stuff hardens, I want to say harder than plastic. It really is. I've been in, you can see here I got some. I can't scrape that off to save my life, and this is a non-stick baking sheet. So if it's sticking there, that means it's pretty good for composition work. So acetone will take that off. The other thing we're going to be using all the time is UV resin. So you're going to get some of this on your tray, and it's going to look like that. And then you're going to accidentally harden it in some way. And this one will harden it just enough so you can move it around. And then usually you have another place that you have a UV curing station so you can cure your pieces a little better. But you can see that does pop off quite nice. Boom. Okay. So next tool is the magnetic clip. Okay. That's what they look like. Now you can make these as wherever you want. I've had clips in the past where I just drilled out a dowel rod and then put the magnet on there. And I got fancy and made these. Here's a single one. Boom. So that allows me to hold compositions in place while they dry. So now I got maybe something like this I'm working on, and boom. Now I can work on that composition, let it dry, turn it around, boom, good to go. And then, my baking tray fell over, but it's not screwing up my composition. Also, if you have a bag, you can sometimes get away with putting this in your bag and the composition can stay in place. Other things that you might want to consider is, let's say I got cups filled with stuff. Well, if I put a magnet at the bottom of it, now those two become kid-proof, cat-proof, everything else. And here's my dip. This is a dip I use for sealing. But look at, I put magnets on the bottom of that, and now that can't be spilled either. So magnets probably are the tool I want to get or stress. They are really, really good. And protect yourself. Pretend you have a 6-year-old and 5 cats running around, which just happens to be my case. This way they can't knock over your compositions. And it turned me into a stronger person for being able to go in and make the tools necessary to combat the random cat toddler situations. So we'll get into making the first tool that you should make is just get some weak magnets. Okay, and here's some super glue that you're gonna knock over every freaking time. Okay, you're gonna put your magnets down. And these magnets are really cheap, so you can buy a pack of 100 for $3. So put a drop of super glue on there and coat it with baking soda. Okay, and then put one more drop. This is going to make a sandwich. Okay, and the sandwich, when dry, will stick to that plastic. So just let it set, and you've created your first tool. Practice gluing all things together with super glue and baking soda for a little bit and making your tools, and you'll be surprised on how many cool things you can make with that combination of two elements there. Alright, once they're dried like this, then you can use the pink super glue. So there's yellow super glue, pink super glue, thin and thick. Okay, so important, whatever brand you like, it doesn't really matter, but find thick and thin. And then this one, now that they're stuck on there, you should use the thin to just give it a kind of a coat, and it'll get underneath those and then make it so strong. So don't stick this down. Make sure that you just like let it dry off to the side. And you can see right there, I got super glue on my stuff, right? If I want to get that off later, I just sprinkle that with some baking soda, and then I can take a knife and cut that off, or acetone it off later. Alright, so these lessons are meant to be small and kind of cool. So this is the baking sheet and how powerful that and magnets are. So here I have the ability to show you the power of the baking sheet. Okay, so this is a baking sheet right here. You can see it's a hot mess, right? Got overspray. I got these objects that clients want me to graphite, and I'm graphiting them to plate them. Alright, so I can take these objects and just easily go somewhere else. This one does not stack with any of my other ones, so I've been using it as kind of a way of keeping this area cleaner, but really it's an easy way to just hide the mess. Here is where I have these clips that are hooked on magnets. You can get these on Amazon, and once I graphite something with an airbrush, I can then clip them here and then just let them dangle into this hot web spider web, and then I have a heater over here and two fans, and between the heater and fans it will basically dry the graphite very quickly, so I can go on to the next stage. I also got these little sponges down here. If I want to lay down something like this beetle, I can. And the silicone little things don't leave too much of a marring mess on top of the graphite. But you can see here, it is kind of a hotbed composition area, right? This is something that you don't want in your house. But this is the best way to lay down some graphite on very, very big objects. I do really big wall hangs. So this is kind of like how I roll. This is in my basement, but if you were doing electroforming and you had bigger pieces, your sculpts, and you were trying to graphite them, you would not want this in your house. And you do definitely have to wear a mask when you do this. But the baking sheets are a nice way to mount magnets to, contain messes, and you know, like when I'm done, if I do want to pick up this area, I could pick up these, kind of move them around. Okay, so I kind of want to share with you what that looked like in a messier situation than I had shown you earlier.